Hey, how's it going, guys? Got another knife review for you. This one's going to be on a more affordable knife. This is the Gerber Obsidian, and this is a Gerber knife. Okay, you can see the logo here. This is going to this video is going to be dedicated to my online friend Mad Bad Voodoo, just because he's a Gerber guy. He has plenty of Gerber knives, and they do them just fine. So, like I said, this is going to go out to my friend Rich. Mad Bad Voodoo. But anyway, like I said, Gerber Obsidian, and this knife retails for $25, $30, somewhere in that range. You can get them at Cabela's, has it for like $27 or something like that. And consider it between $20 and $30, pretty much everywhere you look. Knife Center has them as well, I think about the same price. So anyway, it's a decent little knife. I do have some things about it that I do not like. Definitely some things I do like about it, and so on. Of course, I'll go over those later in the review. But I want to start this video off with a little bit of thoughts on cheap knives. Okay, I get a lot of requests, for cheap knife videos. I want to see knife reviews, but I don't want to see a $150 knife or a $200 knife. I don't have the money, or I'm not that interested in knives to spend $200 on something. So like I said, I want to start this video off just giving you a little bit of my thoughts on cheap knives. Honestly, I think there's nothing wrong with cheap knives, and I've said that in the past. They all serve a purpose, and I'm going to use the example or comparison with cars, okay? Because I think it's a good way to compare things. Let's say you have a really nice car, right? Like a really high-end car, maybe the latest and greatest for 2010, or maybe even some classic car that you really like. Now, it's really cool. It's something you really enjoy using, and you have a lot of fun with, right? Let's say you're at a stoplight, okay, in your awesome car, and some really high mileage used Toyota Corolla or something pulls up next to you. You might laugh at that car. You're sitting in your awesome, perfect car, and you're looking over and you're thinking, oh, look at that guy, that piece of crap junk car. Well, it's the same with knives, and I think a lot of times people who are really, really into the knife community and into the hobby of collecting and using knives, they might be sitting there with a Strider in their hand, okay, Strider SNG or SMF or whatever, Chris Reeves Sebenza, some kind of custom Buck Mayo, it really doesn't matter, some really high-end knife, right? And they look over and they see this little Gerber and they kind of scoff at it. Ugh, look at that cheap little knife. Well, you know what, at the end of the day, this cheap Gerber still cuts stuff. It still has a sharp blade, and it's still a knife, just like that Strider. And the same goes with the cars. Your cool car is really cool to you, but at the end of the day, that cheap Toyota Corolla is still going to get that person from point A to point B. Now, there are a lot of differences. You're talking about style, reliability, effectiveness. That all plays a role, okay? And that is the difference between something that's lower quality or more affordable or cheap compared to something that's high quality and expensive, okay? Let's go back to the knives. Let's say you have your Strider. Your Strider is going to be a lot more reliable than this Gerber. I guarantee it. For really hard use, this thing's probably going to fail on you at some point. The Strider probably won't. As far as being cool, definitely. If you're into knives, you'd much rather have a Strider than a Gerber. Doesn't matter what models you're talking about. It's kind of prestigious. People in the knife community, they see them as very high-end, because they are. Materials are better, builds better, all that stuff. But most important, effectiveness, and that goes back to reliability. This is not going to be as reliable as most more expensive knives. Now, there are definitely exceptions. All right, that's not a solid rule. It's not black and white. There are a lot of affordable, cheap knives that are reliable as far as safety, like locks. Not this one specifically, but for an example, let's use the Buck 110. It's a lockback folder. People have been using them for 20, 30 years. They still have them in their pocket. They still work. They still lock up nice and strong. All right, and that's an affordable knife in my opinion, $50 or less in most cases. But I just wanted to kind of mention that there's nothing wrong with cheap knives, and we have to kind of step out of our box every now and then and step back and look and say, you know what? There's no reason to laugh at a cheap knife or to put people down for having cheap knives. They still get the job done. And at the end of the day, that person can probably be just as happy as you with a $20 knife than you are happy with your $200 or $300 knife. So that's all that matters. If it works for you, it's a good knife, okay? But looking at all the details, you could differentiate between a really good knife and just an okay knife. So anyway, just wanted to preface this video with that bit of information, or my opinion rather. Alright, so what we're looking at here, like I said, is a Gerber Obsidian. This is a push button. I always forget there's a safety on here. It's a push button lock on here, and how that works is, well, just like you think. It's got a button that you push. Now if I come in close, let me get this to focus, you'll see how this works. It's very simple. Okay, you push the button in, it clears the blade. You can see the notch cut out into the tang of that blade, and as it opens up, that little cylinder, there's a spring behind here. Okay, it keeps constant pressure. It's going to poke out when it lines up, and it's not going to allow that blade to close on you. Okay, this does lock up nice and strong. For a $20 knife, it's actually surprisingly secure in the locking. Now, a push button lock is, or a push button knife in general, is pretty cool, because if you're into automatic knives and they're legal where you are, it's very easily convertible. I mean, you can convert this into an auto pretty simply. You get a coil spring, you get a tiny little drill a hole in the blade, a hole in the handle here. You line up the coil spring, and that keeps tension on the blade the whole time. So once this is locked, when you push the button, it will shoot open like an automatic knife. And I wouldn't convert this knife specifically because I don't think it's worth the time or effort. But that's pretty much how those push button autos work for the most part. It's a spring that's coiled around the pivot. But anyway, as far as the lock mechanism itself, like I said, very strong lockup, but you know, I can't speak personally to using these type of knives really hard. I haven't really used them in the past. A lot of the ones that I've had that are push button locks are autos, and for the most part they're not that reliable, to be honest. It's not super strong. But like I said, I can't speak specifically to it because I haven't used these type of knives really hard. Like I said, it does have a safety on here. Okay, down you see the red button. That means you're clear. It's going to open and close. Same deal. Once it's closed, if you push this up, it will lock the blade closed, so it won't open in your pocket. There is no detent on here at all. When we talked about that before in the past, you don't want this opening up. I have to say though, this is because how the pivot's adjusted right now, I don't think it's going to flop open, but just for extra security you can't lock it like that. I have not been able to really flick this. Well, I guess I can if I use my little bit of wrist action. I can flick it open a little bit. It's a little stiff. It's actually very smooth in opening, and I like it like that. I don't really want to flick this out, but you can always adjust the pivot if you want to just get a quick little flick out, you know. But it does lock, like I said, closed or open. You can put that lock on, okay, for extra security in case you're using this and for some reason you push that button. It's still not going to close on you. You can see that once you push the button, you get a little bit of play in there, but that's when the lock engages and it's not going to close on you. Okay, so it's just extra security. This does have a torque screw for the pivots, as well as mini torques for the body. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 body screws. This is comprised of a Zytel, not specifically Zytel, the name, but it is a glass reinforced nylon. I don't think it's advertised as Zytel. That might be a trademark name, but it's a Zytel type material here. There is texture to it, as you can see here, but it's such a fine texture, it does not offer any grip at all. It's a very smooth grip, so don't be fooled with that. Plus, for the most part, your thumb, as you can see here with a normal grip, I'm going to let that focus for a second here. You're not going to be pushing sideways as much anyway, and because these lines or ridges, they run long ways, okay, with the handle, it really does not offer any grip at all. It's very smooth. There is a little bit of stainless here on the what you would call, I guess, the one of the bolsters, even though the bolsters are usually up here. Like, let's say you have a going back to the Buck 110, you basically have 2 bolsters, but this only has one at the base, and it's pretty much just for looks. Just a little piece of stainless steel here. You can see the Gerber logo on there, and of course the pocket clip. Now, I do like the pocket clip on this, mainly because it is a very low profile pocket clip. It's kind of fat on the top. I don't like the way it looks that much, but it is very functional. It's easy to get in the pocket, stays on there nice and stiff. It's not going to fall out if you're being active or anything like that. And as you can see, it comes all the way up to the top here, so in the pants you barely see the knife at all. Okay, I didn't find any trouble taking the knife out of the pocket. Some low profile knives, they give you a hard time actually gripping it. I do like having a little something sticking up, so I have something to grab. Alright, so the clip here is very functional. Like I said, it's not It's not super aesthetic. I don't like the way it looks that much, but it is functional, and that's really what matters. So if you like a low profile clip, this is definitely for you. The two holes in here, just to mention real quick, are to access those screws if you want to remove the clip. So another thing to note on this knife is the two extra tools you get in the spine here. Okay, they have little nail nicks. Okay, a little cutout. You put your thumbnail in there or fingernail, and that's how you get them open. The one tool here is a bottle opener and a flathead screwdriver and a makeshift pry bar. Although it's not recommended to actually pry with this through the website, I did do a little light prying. It can take a little bit of torquing, okay, you know, but I wouldn't go crazy with it just because it's not specifically meant for that purpose. These do not lock, okay, they just kind of, must have a back spring in there, so they kind of stay stiff out, very similar to Victorinox blades and tools, but they're non-locking, okay, so just keep that in mind. The other tool here is a Phillips head screwdriver, as well as on the back here there is a file. Now I have not used the file at all, so I don't know if it's very effective, nor do I know if it's a wood file or a metal file, but I can tell you it's extremely small, so I can't see how it would be super effective, but it's there nonetheless. So anyway, that's pretty much it with this knife. Overall, I think it's an okay knife for $20 or $30. I think there's definitely knives out there I like better personally, such as the K-Bar Dozier folders, a lot of the different bird knives from Spyderco, like the Cara in FRN. You know, there's a lot of options for $20 or $30 out there. I don't think this is the best option, but I really don't think it's a bad knife in general. So I think you could do better, but if you like the style and if it appeals to you and those extra little tools are a nice bonus, then it's worth picking up and trying out. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. This knife did come very sharp out of the box. I actually got this in trade from RB Carnut here on YouTube, and I haven't seen him in a long time. I don't think there's, I have to double check his account, but I don't know if he canceled his account or not. But I haven't seen videos in a long time. Hope he's doing okay. So a little shout out to Rob, but yeah, but I don't even know if he still has his channel. Anyway, that's the Gerber Obsidian. Not my favorite knife, far from it, but not bad at all. Definitely not bad knife. So anyway, hopefully I'll get you guys some more cheaper or more affordable knife reviews in the future. I do have some other knives I want to show as well, but they'll range. You know, I'll show you guys anything from a $5 knife to a $500 knife if I happen to have one, but and everything in between. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it as always. And oh, you know what? I forgot to give you all the specs, didn't I? All right, let's do that. Usually I do it first. This is a heavier knife. It's 4.6 ounces. Okay, the blade steel is a 7 CR17 MOV. Okay, comparable to AUS 8, I would say. No, probably more. Yeah, I would say AUS 8 is a comparable steel to that if you're not familiar with it. Again, Zytel handles, stainless steel bolsters on the butt end of the knife. It is a push button lock. The blade is 3.13 inches long, and the overall length here is 7.06 inches long, making the handle or closed length just under 4 inches, 3.93. So it is a chunky little pocket knife. You know, it is heavier, so if you like a light knife, it's not for you. But overall, it's not bad. Gerber Obsidian. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and like I said, thanks for watching as always, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, guys.